Hey everybody, and welcome to Northernlion Plays Long War 2, the long-awaited and still in development comprehensive mod for XCOM 2, obviously the descendant to the Long War mod for XCOM Enemy Within, which came out a few years ago, made the game substantially longer, more difficult, deeper and wider, and also kicked my butt several times over the course of a couple of campaigns on video. We got a couple of administrative notes to get to before we start playing here, but I vetted this for a few hours last night, and it gets crazy. I'm talking like 40 aliens mission 2 crazy, or not aliens, but Advent and enemies. We're gonna do a full playthrough here. The early access has been generously provided by 2K Games for preview and review purposes, and I appreciate that. And as luck would have it, this is also a sponsored series because Humble actually has a deal going on for XCOM 2 right now. In the Humble Monthly, at least until February 3rd, for 12 bucks you can get access to XCOM 2 if you sign up for the monthly. You also get access to a bunch of other games that as of right now are unknown but will be revealed on February 3rd, which is again the last day to qualify for this. You can sign up at the link below. They're sponsoring the series. This is full disclosure, treated as entertainment as well. We'll be moving on here. I'll get to more of that stuff in the outro call as well, but I want to get into some of the gameplay here first. The episodes for Long War are probably going to be quite long because the missions are substantially tougher, at least to begin with. I can't necessarily say past the early point in the game if they maintain their difficulty, but certainly to start with, it kicks off a little harder than the canonical Operation Gatecrasher. So we're going to play on Veteran instead of Commander, which is one level lower, and honestly that's the rule for XCOM, or at least, for Long War, or at least it was in the last version of Long War for XCOM Enemy Within. Whatever difficulty you play on normal XCOM, you play one level lower for Long War, because it is nightmarish occasionally. Enable Iron Man mode, fine. I'll do it. Could be catastrophic, but I'll do it. And I'll let you watch the introduction here as well.
Line up at the site of the Great Accord, celebrating the formation of the Advent Coalition.
Keeping with their promise to humanity, 12 new gene therapy clinics will be opening in select cities by the end of the new year.
Despite the attempted attack by fringe elements, operations at the new facility in Paris thankfully remain unaffected.
In response to the unprovoked intrusion on the eve of our most beloved celebration, the speaker reaches out to us.
A small number of dissidents again repeat the mistakes of the old world.
Striking as we celebrate a benevolent savior who time and again offers only friendship and compassion.
Yet these trivial actions could never break the bond between humanity and the elders.
Peacekeeping forces have already made several preemptive arrests of known collaborators. Advent again assures all citizens that today's celebrations will continue as planned.
Perfect.
The Advent administration reminds you to report all suspicious activity to your nearest peacekeeper. Only together can we build a better tomorrow.
Approaching position. You were right. They've definitely got their hands full today.
Stay focused. Prep Gatecrasher.
60 seconds.
Sir, do you have your keys in your pocket? We told you, nothing in your hands. Take your keys out. He's got a quarter, get him!
Now.
Signal received. Loud and clear. Okay, Gatecrasher. Your turn.
So in the original XCOM 2, which is a weird sentence to say, this mission, I believe, gave you 2 people And it was kind of scripted. You walked through it and you had like some scripted story stuff. But this kind of like, it doesn't transition as easily because the opening mission here is actually going to give us a much larger squad. So just forget the fact that there were only 2 people on the Firebrand there. One of the things that Long War 2 does is that it drastically increases the size of your squad right from the beginning. So if I remember correctly, when you started XCOM 2, you had a squad of 4, and then as you developed and got things like the, I think the Advanced Warfare Center or Guerrilla Tactics School, you could get to 5, 6, and I believe that was it. You start with 8 squad members to begin with in XCOM 2 Long War 2, and that gives you not only a higher degree of flexibility, but also there's going to be more aliens and more advent right off the bat, because normally this mission, I believe, starts with 2 pods of 4, but instead there's going to be like, I think maybe like 12 to 16 aliens. Advent, sorry, in this one. And also, 8 class members or 8 squad members is important because if everybody lives, there's actually 8 classes that you can spec into with 3 options for each level of each that we'll hopefully see, assuming I don't catastrophically fail this mission, which is possible. But what this means is that missions, at least in my experience so far, tend to be a lot longer. Ambush enemy troops. Advent typically moves its forces in large groups, so we've located a smaller unit on its own that's vulnerable. A well-timed assault will damage Advent's interest in this region and afford us a rare opportunity to bring home enemy corpses for research. So yeah, if you haven't seen XCOM 2 in a while, take a minute to reacquaint yourself with things like, you know, high cover, half cover, etc., etc. Concealment, which gives you the ability to ambush enemies, but my feeling at the end of the XCOM 2 series that we did last winter was, I'm not sure how good ambushing is. It seems better to maintain flexibility than to necessarily go all out for an ambush. So we start with 8 squad members here instead. Each squad member is a rookie. Rookies get, by default, a frag grenade and a flashbang. Flashbangs give enemies disorientation, which drastically lowers their aim, and maybe their movement as well, but you can't just chain flashbangs together, so you have to be somewhat prudent, I suppose, with that. So we're just gonna tackle things fairly standard here, and spread out to try to find the enemy. On normal difficulty, we might be able to get away with using half cover without losing any of our forces, recklessly speaking, but we're going to try to move through these first few turns fairly quickly just because of the fact that, again, with 8 squad members, and then I believe on the second mission, we're able to have 10 squad members, if I remember correctly. You can take a long time on these turns, and, you know, if you're the kind of person that's very min-maxy, this is, like, the perfect mod for you, but also, you can get a little in your own head, like, is this the right place for absolutely everybody to go? Sometimes it will be, sometimes it won't be. So, knowing that there's going to be so many pods, our plan right now is just to spread out until we find some enemies, and then hopefully hit them with, like, basically some shock and awe. Normally, you know, you like to find a cluster of pods, throw a grenade into them, deal as much damage as possible, and then when they scatter, your overwatches will pop, and you can get reaction shots on them, which have an aim penalty, but also have a huge aim bonus, because typically enemies that are scattering from a place of not being in cover to a place of being in cover. So if you can hit them en route, you're in a better position. So we're just trying to avoid the red eyeball indicators right now.
Okay.
There are still timed missions as well. And I had I mean, I won't regale you with the tale right now, but I had a really intense, like, 80-minute long mission last night as my second mission of the game, where I got to, like, the critical piece of intel 2 minutes, or sorry, like 1 turn before the data cache actually popped, and then I had to use the Firebrand to extract myself. It takes 8 turns to come down, this one, or the Sky Ranger, sorry, not the Firebrand. It takes 8 turns to come down, so I had to fight off, like, 3 waves of reinforcements. We have 44 aliens killed. Advent. Killed. Some of them were aliens, in my own defense. Across 10 members of a squad. It was ridiculous. But I believe this first mission is 4 pods on normal difficulty. But again, I've only played through the start of this mission once, so it might be different every time. Alright, so we get Advent officers, and then another thing that this changes, or at least changes relative to my memory of XCOM 2, is that instead of having only a few different kinds of Advent forces. I'm gonna try something here. 1 second. They really start to bring more Advent troops earlier. So instead of just like the Advent officers and then Advent troopers or whatever they're called, we have Advent officers, Advent sentries, Advent engineers, Advent gunners, which basically map very similarly to the classes that the squad members of the XCOM unit can have as well. So it's a little bit more like fighting almost a an Exalt force early in the game. Technically, it's a bad habit to do what I did there, and Overwatch before we're sure if we're going to be done. But, you know, what mama don't know won't hurt her, right? In the sense that, you know, Exalt had a variety of different forces that all looked very similar as well, but when you actually fight them, they have different abilities. So, you know, I think this is 2 troopers and an officer, but there will be more later. There's also a surveillance drone. I've never been hit by a surveillance drone, so I have no idea what they actually do. And I hope I never find out. So we're just going to continue to move up here. A big thing about XCOM 2, a big theme, versus XCOM Enemy Unknown or Enemy Within, was the ability to choose your engagement, basically. So rather than just, hey, we've spotted an enemy. Any good full cover around here? I mean, we should be in full cover. I'm not the greatest XCOM player, in case that's not obvious, but rather than just, hey, you know, you spotted an enemy or an enemy spotted you, you're now in combat. Now you can actually play it a little stealthier and choose when to pop that first pod. And the goal is really to pop that first pod in such a way that they never get a chance to fire back. So again, like, how do we do that? Usually we'll have one unit throw a grenade, and then the rest of the units kind of like pop off. But grenades are not as effective at destroying cover as they used to be, I think. That's been my experience so far. So I think we will begin here and probably try a grenade throw like this. The units will scatter, and I'm going to keep all of our other units ready here. I'm not going to actually do an ambush, even though it can be really useful. Instead, I'm just going to throw a grenade and keep all of our other units flexible, because I might need to land 2 flashbangs to keep this entire pod disoriented. So we have killed 1 unit. We killed 2 units. We also destroyed some loot that we could have gotten, but I'd say a relatively okay first pod popping here. So we want to flashbang that Advent commander or officer, and we want to take out this surveillance drone. So let's look at our odds here to start with. Remember, we're all rookies right now, so if we have like less than a 30% chance with 1 unit and a 50% chance to hit the other, we'll probably take our 51% chance to shoot. But we need to keep in mind that we'll need to save 1 flashbang at the very least in order to flashbang that guy. Because, you know, the best defense in XCOM 2 is to make sure that you never, ever have a chance to be hit. So we're gonna have 32% chances to hit here, which is not bad, actually. 41% chance is quite good for a rookie. 46% chance is excellent. 43% chance? I think that we can probably get this dude killed. The flashbang is going to be easy to land. They have huge range. So let's try to take our 50% shots, roughly. And honestly, using a flashbang doesn't bother me at all in this situation. Like, if we have to use a flashbang, we have 7 extras left. The one thing... Oh, that's beautiful. And that's a promotion earned as well, I think. One thing that has changed... As we'll just go on Overwatch here. Because remember, every pod that we come across now is going to immediately aggro us. So we want to be a little bit more cautious in the way we move forward. But one thing that's changed, I think it's changed at least, between... did I say Afterbirth Plus? But between Long War 2 and the base version of XCOM 2 is that... we'll have a cooldown on grenades. So if we throw a grenade with, let's say, you know, Tom Thompson, who is not this unit. Let's say, okay, we got Fernando Garcia. If he throws a grenade, no matter what kind of grenade it is, he cannot throw a grenade on the next turn. He gets a, like as you can see with Mandisa Okoro right now, she gets a 1-turn cooldown, during which time she cannot throw a grenade. So, oh, that's so unlucky!
These guys make up the
I was like, we've already moved our unit up there. There's no way that we will find ourselves getting screwed there, but we did. So we really need to avoid being flanked here. So we need to throw in some tactical flashbangs, without a doubt. So it's going to be probably your job to make this happen. Get behind full cover. Yeah, this is a pretty poor situation. We popped a pod accidentally. One of the things that was... It made XCOM 2 a little easier than I thought XCOM Enemy Within was the fact that you could sincerely just like overwhelm enemies with grenades and create some situations, especially in the late game where you had like high-ranked grenadiers. There was like no chance that that the enemy could ever stop you. So we're just positioning ourselves here. My overarching goal right now is I think it will be plausible to land a flashbang. I still can't believe we popped that pod. I think it will be plausible to land a flashbang. Lost track of where I was here. Like a flashbang on this guy right here. No, he's behind. His cover's too good. You can't handle my strongest cover. Well, that's okay. Frags have less range, so we actually can't land this one appropriately. We'd have a chance to destroy his cover, but it wouldn't actually hit him. Whether or not we want to take a chance on that is debatable, I think. And we actually can't land that flashbang. Okay, so we have to think about this logically here, as you always do in XCOM. We only have, I think, 3 units. So if you can hit with the flashbang, that would be good. I want to use the flashbang with our lowest percentage chance to hit unit. But this unit, Andrea Rodriguez. No, not Andrea Rodriguez. There we go. Anna Campbell doesn't have a good shot, so she's on Overwatch. Kwesi Mabaso obviously is not going to have a good shot, so I'm just going to leave him on Overwatch, and we'll move him up there next turn to get a high-angled shot. Fernando Garcia has a 26% chance. Generally speaking, the rule is like under 35 or under 30, you don't take a, you never take a shot. One of these units has to throw a flashbang to disorient the unit at the front. Again, the best defense, not to say that we won't get hit if we do this, but the best defense in XCOM is a good offense. If you can kill a unit before it has the chance to fire at you, generally speaking, that tends to be for the best, as long as you're not wasting resources you could use for a better reason later. And then you have the 31% chance. You have a 20% chance. So on 20, honestly, that's an Overwatch situation, I think. 26 is a little tempting. We've only got 2 units left here. So we're gonna take the 1/3 roll, roughly, to try to get a kill. We missed. That's a bummer. With our 28% on full ammo, or 26% on full ammo, he's probably not gonna move is the thing. So I'm gonna try to flush him out with a lucky shot. We didn't get unlucky. We got exactly the return we would expect there. We got a couple of Overwatches ready to pop here, but we also have units that are very easily flanked. I mean, to be honest with you, this unit is most likely to get shot at. Are you an engineer or just a trooper? Like, the officer scares me. Oh, you know what? I can land a flashbang on the officer. That's definitely the right play here. We just snuck it through the back corner. But this only buys us... Well, I mean, first off, it's just an aim penalty, but beyond that, it only buys us 1 turn. So we're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive on them for the next turn. And then we should, after this pod's done, we should have 1 more pod. But I will consider us pretty lucky if we don't get hit here. Well, we got suppressed with area suppression, which is a new ability. At least I think it's a new ability in Long War 2. So this suppresses all units within a certain radius of the unit that you're trying to suppress. So you can actually get an area of effect suppression that's extremely annoying. So the The disorientation seems to have put us in a better spot. There's more units here than I thought there were. They scattered, of course, as soon as the pod popped. So how do you deal with this area suppression? Honestly, if we could land a flashbang, that would be for the best. But I think we're going to start... Oh, now you can't get all the way over here? We're not going to see any of the units by coming this far, unfortunately, but it's still the right call. We might be able to throw a flashbang in over the top and break the area suppression. Does not appear so, unfortunately. I mean, we can throw one, like... There's a sweet spot somewhere in here, but we can't make... Oh, maybe we can make it that far. Come on. Come on. Okay, we can land a flashbang, and I'm assuming that's going to free our other 3 units from the suppression. Yeah, Overwatch removed, disoriented, beautiful. So now these guys can actually move. Alright, so what's the play? Anytime you have 2 units clustered close together, well, more than 2 units even, generally speaking, I like to throw a grenade. Why is your movement so bad? 31, 31, 31. Okay. Generally speaking, I like to throw a grenade. So we're going to take Jonas Ulrich. Oh, he's on cooldown, actually, for grenades. That makes sense. And you only have a flashbang. I would like to get this loot as well, but without putting ourselves in a position where we're getting too flanked. I mean, this is flanked, but that unit's disoriented. Are we going to kill them this turn? It's debatable. But it's time to shit or get off the pod, basically. We still can't land this. There's no place we can move to that's in cover, which is kind of silly. Owen Roberts with a 20% chance. Again, there's no point to flashbangs on this turn, on units that are already disoriented. So is there any way we can maybe get in here without putting ourselves too much in harm's way? I think we're going to start with this move right here. Oh, there was a unit on Overwatch I didn't notice back there. Prepare for that to probably happen a lot. And we got extremely low chances there, so that was probably in hindsight a pretty poor move. Well, what's my dream here? My dream is that we throw a grenade, break cover, kick the crap out of these guys. But is it worth putting one of us outside of cover to do that? Dude, it's a tough call to say that that's a good decision. I mean, like, I don't want to be the guy making that call. So we're gonna... We baited the Overwatch completely on purpose, of course. And we got a flanking shot here with Jonas Ulrich. He's got a 73% chance to hit that gunner. But that gunner is going to be disoriented for one more turn. So as obvious as that seems to be the right decision, I don't know that it is. I actually hate Andrea Rodriguez right now. She's going to move slightly closer and then throw a grenade right here. And the goal here is not to kill this guy with the grenade, because she can't land it back there. It's just to bust his cover up enough that we can get a better shot on him. But it did kill him. And destroyed his loot, but that's fine. Commander, you may want to use restraint when fighting the aliens. Who knows what technique... Dr. Valen, you're not in this game. We don't need to worry about that right now. So there's one unit down. I guess we should take the shot at the gunner and maybe hope for a crit. Hope for a hit. 2 damage, just a graze. A graze is, there's a dodge roll chance, depending on the dodge stat of every unit. Which means that sometimes you will just have them be grazed. Or as I like to say, baby, I'm a grazed by the way you tell me wrong from right. Just looking at the angles that we have available here, I don't think we're going to be able to kill all the units this turn. In case that's not abundantly clear, which it may well be. Dude, we need to get these rookies off of this. Okay, well, obviously, I feel blessed to have this shot at the Advent Engineer. Didn't kill him, but a straight shot for 3 damage. Nothing wrong with that. I'm hopeful that in moving here we can land a frag in there, but I'm also skeptical. Probably there was a better way to handle this arrangement. Yeah, we're one tile short of being able to make that work, so instead we got a 26% chance. What a tizzy. What a difficult situation we found ourselves in here. I think I'm gonna try to work my way around this full cover. If we pop another pod, I'm gonna be very unhappy about things. 18, 18, 18. Generally speaking, Overwatch tends to be a better decision in those cases. We're not going to get close enough with Anna Campbell to throw a grenade, so we might be forced. That's going to be an Overwatch, almost certainly. 18, 18, 18. That's going to be an Overwatch or a hunker. 26, 26. I mean, again, you can't chain flashbangs. So I think, unfortunately, we're in an Overwatch situation. And I'm going to take the 26% chance to kill a unit that's about to come off of disorientation. And, I mean, that's what you expect. But you figure, take the roll, and if you knock a unit out, you get lucky. And that's extremely good. So we're going to Overwatch. 14% is an Overwatch for sure. And, man, kind of a weak turn, to be honest with you. Didn't do nearly as much damage as I thought. These guys are probably going to get a few free shots. But they may have to move because they're being flanked right now. So that guy's just going to fall back and then go on to Overwatch. This guy has to move because he's being flanked right now. We did land a shot and get the kill, even though it was just a graze. But the Advent Sentry is still going to be alive back there. Honestly, anytime you're in half cover and the enemy doesn't have an aim penalty, and yet you still manage to... there goes the loot, unfortunately. I should have paid closer attention to that. But anytime you're able to not get hit by an enemy taking a standard shot, consider yourself pretty lucky. Honestly, I think the 29% chance is like as good as it's going to get here. So let's take that from up top. My dream there was like, hey, it's like 8-on-2 right now. If I can get through this without having to use a frag grenade, that's awesome. Keep in mind, like, every step forward also runs the risk of popping that Overwatch, so I would prefer to avoid that if possible, but I'll tell you what. Yeah, we knew that it was probably going to have a chance to happen here. He's disoriented still, which I should have remembered and been a little less afraid of. You got to take the 73% chance on the gunner. I'm not even going to look at the other one because they rate them in order of percentages. That guy's going to be off disorientation next time. My play was actually to get in here and, you know, throw a grenade at this guy, but we can just have another unit do it instead. So the idea is that hopefully this does a little damage, destroys his cover. 3 damage, that's good. We will get grenade perks, or grenadier perks, I should say, that make it more plausible to destroy an enemy's cover on the regular.
Orders confirmed. Moving out.
Seeing if we just get a better angle right here. 31. You know, I'll take a 31. That's fine by me. We got lucky.
Hostile neutralized.
Not the end of the mission yet, though. Still got one more pod. And honestly, like, it's been fairly tough to start with here. We've been lucky not to be hit, I think. And that's not going to last forever, so we're going to take one more turn. To be fair to myself, we popped that last pod in a situation that we did not mean to pop our last pod.
Good to go. Scanning.
It was a mistake. Oh, so we have a sectoid that's appeared on the first mission here. And it has reanimated the Advent Trooper corpse. However, if I remember from XCOM 2, there is a way out of this situation. I'm gonna pop the next pod, because we want to pop the pod and find the sectoid. Alright, well, actually, what we're gonna do is take a shot at the Psy Zombie. And the reasoning there is, wait a minute, you have a shot at an alien? No, it's okay, it's a Psy Zombie, alright. We're gonna take the shot at the Psy Zombie. The reasoning is, usually it's fairly easy to get kills on these guys because they have no, they'd have no desire to be behind cover. Alright, 2 misses, starting to get me a little salty. But I don't want to move because moving raises a pretty high plausibility that we'll pop that sectoid. I want the sectoid to find us, if possible. And hopefully I can just keep farming these guys up for experience. If they want to play a more defensive game, that's fine by me. Certainly you should reload. Just try to keep every unit ready for combat, like, at all times. I'm not going to move at all, because the downside to popping a pod is so bad here. And he was right behind that wall, so we actually could have pretty easily gotten ourselves into a bad spot. This is probably our final pod. We got a 2-hit there. I don't know if covering your face is going to work, dude. A miss. Oh, and we got critted, but we only got critted for 1 because of protection. I actually don't fully know what protection is. It's panicked this unit. They're in hunker down now. It's still not that bad. But the sectoid has got to go. So we're only going to have 7 units available here. None of these guys are on Overwatch. So I'm going to actually come down here at the risk of popping another pod. I'm going to come down here. And this puts us in a great spot for either flanking or throwing grenades. I mean, obviously a flanking shot is very valuable. So if somebody else can throw a grenade, I would love for that to happen. So who's the most useless unit right now? I mean, Andrea Rodriguez can very easily get a flanking shot right here, which is probably what I will have her do right off the bat.
Moving.
She's going to have an 86 with a 25% chance to crit. Beautiful. 5 damage, unfortunately, is like the worst amount because, yeah, it leaves them on 1 HP, which still sucks up in action. What we're probably going to do here, then, is try something like this. And we might be able to get through this mission without having a unit get wounded, which is amazing. We're just going to land the grenade. It's so tempting. I mean, grenades for guaranteed damage, though, are so useful. I'm trying to get the cover and the... Okay, just kill the sectoid. We want the sectoid roasted, so... There's no way he doesn't take 1 damage. So we'll knock him out for 3. Destroyed his loot again. It bothers me literally 0 to destroy his loot, by the way. Now, how many units do we have left? 5, I think? We should be able to kill a unit with 5 moves. Obviously. So, I'm going to come over here. And the idea, of course, is that we can land a grenade here. And it looks like that will work. It probably won't destroy the cover. Again, like, these grenades are relatively weak. Oh, it destroyed the cover. Life is great. So then our unit that was just chilling on that overpass... Oh, we got him. Okay. 11 enemies killed, 1 soldier wounded, and they did get critted, so that's going to be annoying. But actually, that was a really, really good first mission. And it gives me a good opportunity to talk about some of the cool stuff in Long War 2 when we get back to base. Science, engineering, at least to start with, seems like it's going to be very similar, but the thing that we'll tackle at the last, 5 minutes or so of this episode is all the new classes. Because instead of there being 6 classes, I'm trying to think. There's like Grenadier, Ranger, Sharpshooter. It's been a while. Specialist, and then maybe the special class as well. Maybe there were 5. There's actually 8 classes in Long War 2. And everybody, as is standard, is going to get a promotion at the end of the first mission. So our first class here is Rangers, which, unlike the Rangers from XCOM 2, in Long War 2, Rangers are basically like... I guess you'd call them, not assaults, but they have the light 'em up perk from gunners, where basically they can shoot twice in the same turn if their first turn was a fire with their primary weapon. They also get both barrels and point blank, both of which are huge aim penalties, but fire a really, really high damage shot at a nearby enemy. So you can see that there's also 3 perks for each promotion that you can get here, which allows you to spec in a multitude of different ways that were not plausible in the base version of the game. And when I say that, I'm not... knocking XCOM 2. XCOM 2 is great. But I'm just saying that there's more customization here in Long War 2. So we have the Specialist, which is very similar to the Specialist from XCOM 2, except we start with Haywire Protocol as well, which allows us to hack any unit from level 1. We also get Aid Protocol, which is for the defense. Then we get Assault, which is, you know Assault. They start with a shotgun. They get run and gun, so they can dash and attack in the same turn, once every 4 turns or something. They also get the ability to stun, which is a debuff you can place on an enemy to make them unable to move or shoot for 2 turns. And it uses the arc thrower, but what's nice about it is that you can use it at range. And usually it's a higher percentage than a long-range shotgun shot, so you'll be like, okay, I could go for like the 30% chance for a kill or a 70% chance not to kill, but stun for 2 turns. And then you kind of buy some time that you can use, you can work around them, basically. Barnes is going to be a Grenadier. Grenadier's insanely strong in XCOM 2, in my playthrough at least, because that kind of like shock and awe is the easiest way to take out enemies, especially when you're concealed. So we start just with grenades, and then we'll progress from there. Gunner gives you area suppression and suppression to start with, which is, we saw area suppression in the last mission. It allows you to keep enemies pinned down and take some, cheap shots at them if they try to move, basically. And then Knife Fighter is basically the ability to do a nice high damage melee attack against a unit that's right next to you. I've never used it in combat, though. Technical is like the old class with the mech suits. Now you can get heavy weapons, and heavy weapons basically gives you, I think it gives you, on level 1, it gives you the flamethrower and the rocket launcher right off the bat. So you'll get 1 rocket that you can shoot that's long range, but less accurate than it was in XCOM 2, and you'll get a flamethrower that you can use twice per mission, that does damage in a cone and also leaves fire there that can deal damage to enemies who stay in it or run through it. Then our wounded unit became Shinobi, which is actually maybe my favorite class from the 2 missions that I played so far. They get Slash, which is just an adjacent target getting hit with your sword, which uses an action, but they also get Fleisch. I hope that's correct. What this does is basically allows you to use your entire turn to get right next to an enemy that's in movement range, and then you get a damage bonus against them and an extremely high percentage chance to hit them. So, with your sword. That usually will kill them because it does a lot of damage. So what you use this for is like getting a kill secured on like the final enemy in a pod. There's 1 enemy left, you've got like a 20% chance to hit with your gun. Instead you go, okay, let's just use our sword and have like a 90% chance to do lethal. You also get Phantom, which I think allows you to stay concealed. Yeah, after the squad is revealed. So this guy should be a sharpshooter or a sniper then. And he starts with Squad Sight. And there's actually some really cool perks down the middle of the sharpshooter tree, like the ability to have holo targeting, for example. Holo targeting used to be in XCOM Enemy Within if you had a scout. If they shot at an enemy, other enemies would get an extra 10% chance to hit that enemy in the future. Instead, holo target here is something that we can do with our second turn. Like if we have to move, we can't shoot our sniper rifle unless we have snapshot. So we can instead holo target an enemy and give a buff to all of our other units shooting at that enemy of plus 10%, which is really cool. But you can also like holo target twice per turn, I think, if you take the middle path down here. So, of course, that's our stuff for research, and we'll quickly go to research, but I'm going to not let him talk because we've gone through this many times now, and we'll research whatever they recommend, which is research communications, or advent communications, and then Dr. Shen is like, hey, we should build something, and you're not wrong. But that's going to do it for episode 1, because it has gone on for, I would say, like the perfect amount of time right now. Again, thanks to 2K for early access here. We're going to say that in every episode, and thanks to Humble for sponsoring the series. It was going to happen anyway, but it's a good marriage, if you will, because we get to do a little preview of Long War 2 from 2K, but we also get to pimp the Humble monthly bundle, which is $12 instead of $60. Guarantees you access to XCOM 2, and then there's going to be more games released. They're just hidden under wraps as like a surprise bag that you get when it actually comes out. Note that I actually don't get paid per sign-up. You know, it's not a sponsored deal in that, so don't feel like I'm necessarily like hawking this, like you got to get it to feed my pockets. I actually just think it's a good deal. I did a video series on XCOM 2 when it first came out, without it being sponsored, because it's a great game. And now that you can get it at 80% off, at least if you pick it up in the monthly before February 3rd, I would recommend it. Plus, there's other games that I'm sure are going to be cool in there as well. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. I hope you're looking forward to the rest of the series. New episodes coming out every single day. Haven't picked a time slot yet. This one will probably be at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. In the future, episodes might be slightly later in the morning or afternoon Pacific Time. Do your own conversions for that. I'm looking forward to getting my butt kicked by Long War. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.